Let me tell you, this country wasn't founded by illegal immigrants. It was founded by settlers who came here to build the country, not bring it down.
Do you think that immigrants are good for the economy as a total?
No.
Really? Not at all?
No.
Not at all?
No.
But what about during
Why don't you get onto the agenda?
Okay.
They're trying to knock out the white race.
You think so?
Oh, amen.
They're trying.
They're trying to knock out the white race.
You think so?
Oh, amen.
If we snapped our fingers and every single illegal immigrant in the United States disappeared, we would literally starve to death.
We're deporting immigrants, but they're the ones who pick the fruits and vegetables upon which the Florida economy depends.
Since taking office, my administration has launched the most sweeping border and immigration crackdown in American history.
Now, before we dive into the farms, let's talk about the woman at the center of today's FAFO story, Carrie Underwood. Yeah, she's more than just a country music superstar with one of the most iconic revenge anthems of all time. She's also someone who showed her support when it really mattered. Carrie even performed at the presidential inauguration, standing right there as part of the celebration of the very administration that promised mass deportations and delivered them. And here's why this matters for our story. Carrie wasn't just cheering from the sidelines. She was part of the cultural soundtrack of MAGA loyalty, which makes what comes next almost poetic. Because when you support the policies that drive away immigrant workers, and then those same policies end up hollowing out your own farm, well, that's not just politics. That's irony served with a side of country twang. So let's roll a few clips here, because I want you to see how much Carrie leaned into this moment and how closely tied she was to the world that built up these policies.
Hey, doctor.
Hey, do you have that Obamacare?
Obamacare? What's that? What's that?
Oh, it's great.
It's great?
It's great.
What is it?
I started signing up last Thursday and I'm almost done. Let's go to the website and get you signed up.
Oh, okay.
Let's see here. Let's see. This can't be too hard, right?
Why is it spinning?
Oh, it does that.
Okay. Why is it smoking?
I don't... Maybe we should restart it.
Obamacare by morning.
Why is this taking so long?
Why is this taking so long?
So long.
Oh, hold on. I'm gonna wind up with hemorrhoids if I sit here till dawn. We'll have cataracts and dementia. Oh, this is getting on my last nerve. Obamacare by morning. Over 6 people served.
We'll finish that later.
So yeah, that's Carrie and Brad turning Obamacare into a comedy routine. And let's be real, that wasn't just harmless banter. That was a prime-time wink to the MAGA crowd, a way of saying, we're laughing at the same things you are. You don't roast healthcare like that unless you're comfortable playing to the right side of the room.
Carrie Underwood, she's gone full MAGA. They announced today that she's going to be singing at the Trump's inauguration.
Miss Carrie Underwood, I want to know why you don't like black people. Because shading Jamal, the winner of American Idol, ain't cute. Then you don't want to headline with Beyonce at a country music festival. On top of all of that, you sung at the inauguration of the current president. Why? Did you choose that day to wake up and be like, you know what, I hate most of my fans, and I'm gonna hope to lock in a different demographic to save my career? You need to be worrying about when the last time you had a gold certified album or better.
Right now, I wouldn't do it, even though I can't sing.
You would not sing?
No, I would not. I would not normalize him. And she says, I love our country. How do you love your country and support and normalize somebody who was a convicted felon who really wants to destroy the country, in my opinion? I don't understand how you say you love your country at the same time as you normalize this convicted felon, which I can say now every day.
A lot of my family voted for Trump. They love the country and voted for him. I think that people make these decisions for a lot of reasons.
Okay, fine. And I would not be the person to say don't do it, because I believe in free speech and everything about it. I personally would not do it.
Now, from what we've just seen, I think it's safe to say we've learned a little about which team Miss Carrie Underwood was suiting up for. She wasn't exactly hiding it. And that brings us right to today's twist, Carrie's very own FAFO moment. Because when you cheer for the policies that chase away the very workers keeping your farm alive, sooner or later you end up tasting the consequences yourself. So let's take a look at how Carrie's story unfolded and how her choices came back around in ways she probably didn't see coming.
The also lovely and privileged Miss Carrie Underwood is finding it hard.
Oh no. Where have all the workers gone? And after you sing America the Beautiful at Trump's inauguration, this just doesn't seem right. I feel so bad for you.
What's going on with Carrie Underwood right now? Apparently she's having problems with her farm because she's saying it's keeping her up at night. She's having sleepless nights because it's so much work. And according to an insider, she is struggling to find help. She's struggling to find farm hands that are going to help do the work that she needs on her massive, massive farm. And it almost makes you wonder, what type of person was she employing before? Because she had no problem going to Donald Trump's inauguration and singing at it, right? And I guarantee she probably had more than her fair share of undocumented migrants working her farm. And now she's upset because she either doesn't have enough help or can't find enough help. This is an FAFO. You were so full-throated with Donald Trump wanting to sing at his inauguration and throwing a hissy fit when that didn't go perfectly. And now you're suffering the effects of his policies because you can't find enough people to run your massive farm and you have to do it yourself. You're finding out how hard the work is and how much these people helped move our nation forward. And so this is an absolute FAFO for Carrie Underwood.
Carrie threw her support behind the very playbook that cleared immigrant workers out of the fields. And now she's standing in the same empty fields wondering why the harvest isn't what it used to be. That's the thing about FAFO, it doesn't play favorites. You can cheer for the policies all you want, but when the workers are gone, the crops don't care who you voted for. And this is where the lesson gets bigger than Carrie, because her story isn't just about one farm. It's the same story playing out across MAGA country. Folks realizing too late that you can't run an agricultural economy on slogans and spite.
Let me tell you, this country wasn't founded by illegal immigrants. It was founded by settlers who came here to build the country, not bring it down.
Do you think that immigrants are good for the economy as a total?
No.
Really? Not at all?
No.
Not at all?
No.
But what about during
Why don't you get onto the agenda? They're trying to knock out the white race.
You think so?
Oh, amen.
They're trying to replace you?
Yeah, we're trying to replace the white race.
Who's they, though?
You find out who they is and come back and then you talk to me.
Well, you're the one that told me the...
I'm giving you information. You go do your research. Be an investigator.
If we snapped our fingers and every single illegal immigrant in the United States disappeared, we would literally starve to death. You wonder why I'm so passionate about agriculture and so passionate about immigration as part of agriculture? It's that, guys. You don't know the whole picture. Now, should we have illegal immigrants working in the field? Should we have illegal immigrants working in construction? Should we have illegal immigrants working in hotels and wherever else they might be? No, we shouldn't. But they are. And there's tens of millions of them working in the system. So if we just say, hey, they got to get out of here, well, you have to have a solution before you just send people out the door. Now, I'm not talking about ethics today, and I've talked a lot about ethics. Let's just talk about economics. Let's just talk about the reality of economics. You send 10 million people out the door that are filling 10 million roles in the United States, and 80% of those people are working in agriculture. What do you think is going to happen? Do you think you're going to eat tomorrow if there's all of a sudden not people there to harvest, to pick, to pack, to drive the tractors, to do everything? Pretty quick, you'd find yourself without any food in your mouth, any food in your stomach, and you would be starving to death. That's why I'm so passionate about it, because we can't just be stupid. We have to have a solution. The ethics aside, I'm frustrated by the ethics because I know the people that we're talking about, but I think you still want to eat. So no matter what, we got to look at a solution and not just complain about all of the people who are here illegally, because you'll starve to death without them.
You ever notice some people pray for rain, but then complain when they got to carry the bucket? So the rumor is that Carrie Underwood is out here struggling to maintain her 400-acre property. You know, chicken, horse, sheep, greenhouses, all the things, right? It's like a whole little house on the prairie starter kit. So now she's having trouble finding farm hands, and Miss Girl got to get up at the crack of dawn, shovel hay, feed animals, harvest food, water the plant. You know, all the stuff people said Americans would happily do if immigrants stopped stealing their jobs. Now, for me, the irony in all of this is Carrie Underwood is a Trump fan. She's been on the build the wall, protect American jobs train. So I go, if that logic holds, shouldn't she be thrilled right about now? I mean, congratulations, Carrie girl, you got the job back. Now go pull yourself up by your Chinese-made bootstraps and get to work, girl. This is the crazy thing, though. Immigrants have been the backbone of multiple industries in America for a long time. Agriculture, construction, hospitality, industries that keep this country running. Decades of break-backing work, feeding this country, building its home, keeping it alive. And you know what America's reward was? Treat immigrants like they're disposable. Push them out. And then when the system collapses, suddenly everyone's got the shocked Pikachu face. So my question to Americans is, how much are you willing to lose to hold on to the fantasy that you don't need immigrant labor? Because without the people that you said didn't matter, you might just find out your American dream is actually one long nightmare. And you're the one that has to wake up and collect the eggs, boo.
Before I continue, I want to take a quick moment to say thank you to every creator whose clips we share in these videos. You're the reason we can stitch these stories together and make sense of all this. And I've got to give a special shout out to one of my favorite creators, the Bishop Tutu. Now listen, this creator breaks it down exactly as it is. No sugarcoating, and I love her for it. So if you're on TikTok, go check out her content. Now, back to our story. When MAGA supporters, especially the farmers, lined up and cheered for mass deportations, it's like they forgot one tiny detail. Their entire livelihood depended on those very same immigrants. You can't kick out the backbone of your own workforce and expect the barn to keep running.
So like this fruit is not going to be able to be harvested because it's too far gone.
That's because on day one of the harvest, about half of their 120-person workforce wasn't there.
Our harvest workforce is primarily immigrants. I would say the majority are from Mexico originally. They are skilled workers who come up every single year. A lot of people have a lot of fear based on their ethnicity, which is an unfortunate thing.
Chandler says the fear over ICE raids isn't just present at his farm, but across many farms like his. For him, it means an unprecedented loss.
Since taking office, my administration has launched the most sweeping border and immigration crackdown in American history.
I've been involved in dairy farming my entire life. I grew up on this farm. This is the farm my parents came to when they emigrated here to the United States, and I've been here ever since. For 30 years, I've been hiring foreign-born people because there's not enough domestic people that want to come and work here. We've built an economy that relies on people, but we have a public policy that demonizes them. And to my way of thinking, that just doesn't make any sense. I think the changes that the administration and that Congress needs to make is to have some easier path to permanent resident status so that they've got legal status to be in this country and to be doing the work, so that they can travel back and forth without worrying, both on our local roads but also back and forth to get back home. Can agriculture work without them? Absolutely, 100% no, it cannot.
American agriculture runs on immigrant labor, always has. From dairy farms in Wisconsin to orchards in Washington to citrus fields in Florida, immigrant workers are the backbone that keeps food moving from the field to your plate. But under the Trump administration, with deportations ramping up and fear spreading through communities, that workforce started to vanish. Fields went unpicked, barns went understaffed, and farms that had survived bad weather, low prices, and everything else suddenly couldn't survive missing workers. And here's the part that makes your head spin. Most of these farmers supported those very deportations, even though deep down, they knew they weren't about to get out there and pick their own crops. They weren't willing, and honestly, they weren't capable. Some of them even had this wild idea that Black Americans would suddenly show up to do the field work once immigrants were gone, as if centuries of history hadn't already made it clear that was never going to happen.
So y'all remember when it was said that we taking all the black jobs? They really thought that we was going to be looking for black jobs, y'all. And I woke up this morning, I was scrolling through TikTok, and I saw this guy made a video, and I saved it to my favorite, so you can go look for it. And he said he was pretending to be MAGA on one of those other apps. He said they were doing a live, and the farmers were saying that they thought that the black people would be looking for jobs to work on their farms. Now, you got to be kidding me. Do they think we really looking for farm work?
As sure as you're sitting there, the Fact is that his big kill on the black people is the millions of people that he's allowed to come in through the border. They're taking black jobs now, and it could be 18, it could be 19, and even 20 million people. They're taking black jobs, and they're taking Hispanic jobs, and you haven't seen it yet, but you're going to see something that's going to be the worst in our history.
When he says immigrants are taking black jobs, doesn't that make you stop for a second and ask, what exactly are black jobs? Like, is there a secret catalog of jobs in this country that are race specific? Because if that's the logic we're running with, we're already off the rails. And for anyone still cheering along with this MAGA movement, how do you not see how absurd that sounds? But here's where it gets worse. These same farmers shouting about deportations, they're not lining up to do the work themselves. And spoiler alert, neither are most other Americans. Why? Because nobody wants to break their back in the fields for a wage that barely covers gas money. Folks aren't signing up to be treated like disposable labor.
Keith Smith says most immigration workers left after the law took effect. So this potato farmer hired Americans. Problem is, he says, most show up late, work slower, and are ready to head home after lunch. Some even quit after just one day out in the field.
There's a Hispanic man that works for us, and I say, he's 52, and he'll make anywhere from $70 to $100 a day. I said, if you can keep up with him and do a good job, you can make that. But they're not physically in shape to do it, and, probably not mentally tough enough to do it, some of them.
And that's the part that should make us pause. Is it really love of country or good leadership to look at the very people keeping your farm alive and treat them as less than human? To chant illegal immigrant as a catch-all insult, even when we know some of the ones being deported are here legally, and then to turn around and underpay the ones who do stay? Tell me, how exactly is that humane?
All right, MAGA, get out there. Where are you at? You got your jobs back. You got your jobs that were taken from you. Get out there. Get out there and start working. Get to work. America first. Get out there. 100% haven't shown up to work due to immigration raids, Texas farmer says. America's migrant workers are terrified to work, but unable to stay home. So get out there, MAGA. You got these jobs back. You took them back. You voted. You got your guy in there to get rid of all of those migrant workers. So get out there. Get out there and start working. But for real, I want to shout out to the undocumented migrant workers as they were deemed essential in 2020. They stepped up when this nation needed them most. They have my utmost respect. They should see a pathway to citizenship. Period. Period. They were deemed essential workers, risking their lives in one of the most hazardous jobs in the entire U.S. labor market. They have my full respect. Thank you for your service and your contribution to this country.
ICE and their deportations are causing problems. It's causing problems ethically for the families that are here, for the impacts that they have, for the fear these folks have to go to work, and we're deporting people in a way that is creating chaos. Chaos that hurts people ethically and their families, the kids, the children, all of that. And it's also causing economic impacts because if the people can't show up, we can't do the work that we need for you. Okay, let's just be real for a second. The U.S. numbers are somewhere for undocumented workers in the United States. The number's between 12 million and 30 million. Let's just pick 20 million, okay? Let's just use 20 million for a second. There are 20 million people that are undocumented that are working in the U.S. economy. How many people are not working? What's our unemployment rate for American citizens in the United States? It's 4.2%, represents about 7.4 million people. Okay, so let's just say that we kicked those 20 million people out and every single one of those 7.4 million people went to work. There'd still be 13 million job openings. Can you imagine what that would do to your community? Can you imagine what that would do to your business? Can you imagine what the impacts would be economically. Why are these people here? Because they fill a role. We've asked them to come. We've given them a job. And has agriculture done that? Yes, agriculture has been part of the problem. But so has hospitality. So have restaurants. So have hotels. So has construction. Because Americans don't want to do those jobs. It's happened for a reason, and we need to fix the problem. So we can see the economic impacts. We are already seeing on the news what the ethical impacts are for these folks, the fear that they're living with. Let's find a solution.
Let's think out loud for a second. If you happen to be watching this and you lean MAGA, set that deport immigrants chant aside for just a moment. Because here's the truth. Most of the immigrants working these farms aren't here mooching or wasting time. They're working, and working harder than most of the folks shouting about them. Without their labor, the food doesn't move. The fields don't get harvested, and the economy starts to wobble. You can't deny their impact unless you're willfully ignoring reality. And here's the kicker. This isn't just about immigrants. It's about power. Greed and hate fuel all of this. Agricultural corporations are fighting to keep wages rock bottom. Billionaires are engineering policies that squeeze struggling families until they're desperate. And politicians are weaponizing immigration as a talking point while their donors cash in. That's not governance for the people. That's governance for profit. And the evidence is right in front of us. Deportations rising, labor shrinking, food prices spiking, family farms failing while corporations scoop up the land. So my question is this. Is it really so hard to take off the hate lens and look at this with wisdom? Because there is nothing good about mass deportations tearing communities apart, while farms collapse and billionaires laugh all the way to the bank.
98% of the fruits and vegetables and 86% of the milk in this country is harvested by migrant hands. 86% of the milk, 98% of the fruits and vegetables. H-2A workers, fruits and vegetables, you can only be here 9 months, and then your farm has to be worker-free, and you get surprise inspections. Make sure that there are no H-2A workers on your farm for 3 months. Cows don't understand that, okay? This is, 365 days a year. Nobody gets it. There's absolutely no program for the worker who has to be on site 6 days a week, 52 weeks a year. We need these people, not just in agriculture, but because agriculture is the third largest employer of undocumented. Construction needs them, and certainly the service industry.
And that's where I'll end today's video. But before I go, let me raise my coffee mug to say a heartfelt thank you to the immigrants who keep America's agricultural backbone standing strong. We see you, we honor the work you do, and we recognize the impact you've had on this country, even when others try to erase it. I'm Glenn, and it's always a privilege to think out loud with you. If this video gave you something to reflect on, don't forget to subscribe, share it with a friend, and drop your thoughts in the comments. I read them, and I love hearing your perspectives. Until next time, stay sharp, stay kind, and I'll catch you in the next one.
Hard to maintain her 400-acre farm in Tennessee. She said it's so hard finding and keeping hired hands. You mean the hands that you voted for to get deported? And that's why I understand that y'all's vote was so rooted in racism that you could not even see that you were voting against your own interests. I just want to know, Carrie, while you were in that voting booth, voting against your own interests, who did you think was going to maintain your 400-acre farm? I know like hell you didn't think it was going to be your cousin Billy and Bob. And like hell you thought it was going to be Tyreek and Jashawn. Because we all know y'all have a tendency to pay these immigrants less than what they're worth. And for you to think that you were going to vote to deport them and then in turn hire what? White and black people? At the same rate, you got to be out your mind. I guess you're going to have to go on a job search and search for all the people that said all the immigrants was taking all the American jobs. Find them, or matter of fact, is your farm you work.
Does everybody remember Carrie Underwood? Little Miss MAGA? The Trump trailer park princess? Yes, the girl that came out and sang at his inauguration when she had no reason to. And then later called it a MAGA makeover. Well, it seems Little Miss MAGA was using immigrant labor on her farm, and now she's having a crisis.